Hello and welcome and hello. Thank you for tuning in to Un Poco Moss, the show where we give you just a little bit more. My name is Danny Deals, coming at you on a Tuesday. It is October 17, 2023, just after 9 a.m. out here in dreary, overcast Los Angeles here on the coast. Hoping this marine layer breaks and we get some more sunshine today. The Los Angeles area is in the middle of a big heat wave, guys. It's Danny Deals coming at you, talking to you, of course, about the SoFi stock, ticker symbol SOFI. Guys, SoFi stock kind of rebounding off those lows, came back down, tested 8. Um, that 813 number that we talked about so much, that actually kind of really held up as support there on Friday, and then came back down today to what was it, 808 again today. My gosh, thing bounces around like crazy. It's just not normal for a stock like this, this size, this stability of a company to move around from like 11 something down to 7 in like a couple weeks, and then this stock is extremely, I'm not going to say manipulated. It's not it's just traded by algorithms and computers and market makers, and it's the high concentration of retail turders, returders in the stock that, we're not computers, guys. And unless we just set it and forget it, just put our shares away, lock them away, ignore the short-term price swings. If we're always trading like little hamsters on crack, little, meth, little, I'm sorry, guys. I know you're not hamsters on crack, but basically, if you're trading in and out, you're subject to emotion, you're subject to panic selling, you're subject to FOMO, and that's what market makers take advantage of. I wanted to talk with you today, kind of change gears, and talk about SoFi Stadium, but more than SoFi Stadium, talk about what SoFi can become in terms of a brand, in terms of the center of Los Angeles. Um, I think the SoFi, not just the stadium, but the larger development at Hollywood Park slash SoFi Stadium can become, sort of the most iconic symbol, the most iconic location in California. Um, and really in the world, because California is poised to become the fourth largest economy in the world in not too long. We're going to surpass Germany. California is the economic center of the United States, and that's just a fact, guys. Like, yes, it's way across the left, and if you add up New York and all the other East Coast, yes, you have a lot more people and a lot more economic activity, but California is an international center. Los Angeles is an international center. Los Angeles is a trade hub. Los Angeles and the Bay Area up north are technology hubs. Um, Even though companies are moving their manufacturing, like Tesla, to places, like Texas, the design centers are still here. SpaceX is still here. The University of California system is absolutely second to none in the world. You talk about UCLA, UCSD, UC Berkeley, UC Davis, UC Santa Barbara, UC Irvine, UC Riverside. Each one of these would be a premier, research institution in most states and most countries, but we have like 10 of them. And then in Los Angeles, you add in, like, I see an ad here for LMU, but you add in universities like USC, Caltech, and then you have just a plethora of, really good private schools. So the quality of education, the quality of individual, and then you have all these engineers and software people coming in from other countries, China, India. Where do they want to come? They want to come to Los Angeles. It's a multicultural hub. It's humming here. Business is booming here. And I just want to talk about Hollywood Park because Hollywood Park is basically the same developer owner, I believe, as SoFi Stadium. So this article is back from March 2022, but a lot of this is being built now. So I just wanted to revisit it. The retail component at Hollywood Park is a 300-acre mega development in Inglewood centered on SoFi Stadium. There will be 890,000 square feet of retail surrounded by creative office space, residences, a park, and the stadium are nearby as well. Stan Kroenke, the lead at the Hollywood development with Wilson Meany, and basically they go through, the development. they're talking about how this is going to be the premier and one of the largest mixed-use developments in the world. It's already was already 65% leased, and of course, this is early last year. So this is an older article. I could find something more current, but I just want you guys to understand the scope of this. It's not just a stadium. Like if you go to Kansas City or Denver or something and you name a football stadium, yes, it's going to be far, far cheaper, obviously, but the economic activity is just not there in these places. You're not going to get the same benefit. You're not going to get the same exposure. And I say, why can't SoFi become the iconic? Of course, you have Disneyland, you have the Hollywood sign, you have the, San Francisco, you have the Golden Gate Bridge, but none of these are dynamic. None of these are growing. Like young people, they don't, in Hollywood Park versus SoFi, like, I believe SoFi is going to become a far more recognizable name. It already is, really, than Hollywood Park. Like young people, most people, they don't know horse racing. They don't know what Hollywood Park really is. They don't know the history. They know the here and now. They know that SoFi Stadium, the Chargers are there, the Rams are there, Taylor Swift is there, Beyonce is there, World Cup is there, Olympics are going to be there. And think about the international exposure this brings in terms of all of the people who come from other countries to make Los Angeles their home, personally and their businesses. I mean, so SoFi is going to get exposure everywhere in the world because, again, Los Angeles is just such a multicultural hub. And when you're talking about California is currently, I think, the fifth largest economy in the world, and it's poised to become the fourth largest economy in the world quite soon. So the economy, I guess, next year should be worth $3.7 trillion. It's already passed Brazil, UK, and France, and I think this is 2013 numbers. So these keep shrinking, and it's about to pass Germany. So the only economies that are going to be larger than just California are, of course, the overall United States, of which California is a part, of course, and China and Japan. So, I mean, and people really don't understand Los Angeles if you're not from here. Like I'm from the area where SoFi Stadium is, and I've seen what this has done for Inglewood. It has completely um, revitalized the area. The property values have gone insane. It's near the ports of San Pedro, Long Beach. The stadium is also very accessible. It's not like it's in Santa Clara, it's out way outside of town, or like in Boston, the stadium's not there. It's like I think Foxborough or what most of these stadiums are like not really in town. They're not really the center of the economy. They're not really the center of retail and where people live and where people work. But SoFi is actually, near the coast in Inglewood, so it's very close to South Bay, Manhattan Beach, Torrance, Hermosa Beach, Palos Verdes, and then it's very accessible from Orange County, a lot more so than if it were up north in the Valley Hollywood area. It's accessible from downtown. It's right near Santa Monica, Culver City, Venice, West LA. Um, so SoFi Stadium is very central. You can get there from Inland Empire, just jump down the 91 freeway. You can get there from downtown, just 110 to 105. SoFi is very centrally located. There's lots of parking. It's revitalizing the economy, and also they're rebuilding another basketball stadium right nearby for the Clippers, I believe. So it's just one thing after another. This area, like SoFi, has not even seen, I think, the type of hyper growth, hyper development that SoFi is going to ignite. So if you see, we haven't got the benefits from so many of our investments yet. They're just starting, guys. Galileo Technesis, people are already saying it's a bust, and I'm as impatient a turd as anybody, but it's not a bust, guys. They're expanding their product offering. They just made two good announcements: the corporate credit solution, which we could talk about, and then also the expansion into five more countries in Latin America. Let's take a look at the short interest just because we're here, guys. Short has been spiking the last week. So we were down to 12.26% short interest. This is just Friday, September 29. Creeps all the way back up to where are we at? 12.4 on October 6th. and then takes a huge spike on October 7 to 13.4, which is approximately where we remain. If we look at the live short interest on the day, they've returned about 400,000 shares. Cost to borrow max is very low today, so there's really no pressure on the stock. The shorts are just kind of remaining very, very neutral today, maybe covering a few shares. But guys, the SoFi stock is up 4 cents to $8.29, or one half a percentage point. And this is where we see this article. Galileo introduces corporate credit solution that streamlines B2B expense management for fintechs and non-financial brands. This is basically a corporate spending, I think, kind of expense account, corporate credit card, where you have big companies and organizations with lots and lots of charge cards out there in the field, and it becomes a very arduous task to track all the expenses, do all the accounting, keep everyone honest, manage budgets, and this simplifies all that. Simplified tracking and management of multiple employee charge cards, real-time visibility into available credit across all connected cards, one single repayment at the funding account level due at the end of the billing cycle. So instead of having to manage all these cards individually, this takes a holistic approach. Guys, it's holistic. And it allows a manager to look at the account as one overall account and manage it that way rather than a bunch of little charge cards. So this could be a few cards, it could be hundreds of cards, but you're able to make one payment and you're able to monitor anything. And I'm sure there's some AI and machine learning and chat GTP and all that bullshit involved. But this is just another notch in SoFi's belt. Galileo, the more offerings they have, and I like the push, Galileo pushing SoFi into the B2B area. Um, it gives Galileo and Technesis another thing they can sell when they're going out for these requests for proposals and they're submitting versus other technology companies, other software companies that run banks, guys. It's only going to be helpful if they can offer more integrated products. They could say, by the way, not only can we take care of your whole technology stack, but we can also offer this solution. And they're just going to keep adding more and more components, more and more modules, more and more services with Galileo. I think Galileo is going to grow into its shoes and start to run. I hope it's sooner than later, but that's something I can't really control. That's up to, they're an independent company, but they're making a big transition, guys. That can be very difficult. They're trying to go from sort of a smaller kind of player where they've got a bunch of little companies, a bunch of little customers they're trying to grow with, jettison some of that dead weight, and then try to sign up big accounts with big existing client bases that are going to bring in, immediate revenues, immediate room to expand, immediate, everything, immediate now. So we want those immediate benefits of those clients, but it does take time to land the overall customer. Guys, sorry I'm doing this a lot today. Like, I need new gestures. Like, I'm just trying to sprinkle some knowledge on you guys. Little Rain Man action. But okay, let's take a look at the chart and what's going to happen into earnings, guys. Maximum pain this week. They're saying $8, but I don't know. It doesn't seems like it should be more yeah, it's actually max pain should be more between 8 and 850. If you look at the cash, yeah, see it's 20% at 750, 0 at 8, and then at 850 it's only 0 put. So max pain is actually closer to 850 than it is to 750. There's different ways you can calculate that, but I'm no, math. I'm no math genius. I was told there would be no math. Actually, I am. But in any case, guys, max pain is somewhere, I don't know, between 8 and 850, obviously, but there's not a lot of options activity this week. There's only some calls at 850 and some puts at 8. So you'd have to expect the stock would finish the week somewhere in there, but I'm looking for the stock to run up over 9 into Q3 earnings, and I'll tell you why. Um, with the short increasing, guys, it does not make sense they're going to run a pump and dump after the ER. I think they're going to pump the stock next week and then attack the stock after the ER on weak EPS. That's just my opinion. I don't know if you can see this little turd chart I made right here. Probably not because there's like a reflection, but basically the stock's going to push up. There's going to be weak EPS. They're going to attack the stock one last time. Then it's going to reverse hard and it's going to move up into the Q4 ER. And basically, what I would submit is going to happen is there will be a churn of institutions from these short-term traders. They're going to get out of the stock, get out of their short position, and long-term, more institutions, more pension funds, more stability is going to come into the SoFi stock. So, what else can we cover here, guys? That Chiavarini reiteration or upgrade to a hold from a sell, it never actually came in, and he downgraded his EPS estimates for next year. So again, this is another thing. This turd, this pasty turd, has been silent, as has the bologna sandwich. He's been actually moonlighting as a drive-in movie screen on his off time, which is great. I think you should put that forehead to work. But in any case, the Chiavarini move from sell to neutral just rocked the world. I actually like. Tavis made a video about it. He's like, "This is an upgrade," and then he kind of reached the same conclusion. He's like, "Is this an upgrade? It's a downgrade." I don't think he knows the Chia Pet as well as I do. Um, but the Chia Pet does not upgrade or reiterate to give an honest opinion. The Chia Pet is there to create a narrative to move the stock. And so, with the short increasing into the Q3 ER, I have to believe they're going to attack the stock immediately after the ER on weak EPS. That's my opinion of what's going to happen. Nothing really new going on over at Squeaking Alpha. But if you take a look at the a couple of these headlines in the stock, means investment technology. This is again about the corporate credit solution. There's this interesting court case that could represent the end of naked short selling, or at least put a lot of pressure on the naked short sellers. This is the Wedbush upgrade where he did, a fake upgrade, lowered the EPS targets, and just trying to get his name up on the list. But Tip Ranks didn't even bother to put him up on the list thus far because basically Danny Dolev, touchdown Danny Dolev with Mizuho, um, increased his price target of $15. Usually it happened in the past, like Q1 or Q2. Whenever some analyst would come out and give SoFi a good rating, the Chia Pet would immediately like reiterate or downgrade or change his price target by 50 cents. Be like, I'm upgrading from 250 to 3 after somebody gave like a $14 price target or whatever. It's just, it's just gamesmanship. It's bullshit. But that's what's been characterized by the SoFi stock. I think after the Q4 earnings report, if they hit their net profit, a lot of these games are going to be over. It's just way easier to play with a stock that is not earning money because institutions just don't want to come into the stock. Like, why are they going to rush in? They're like, we can buy after. There's always more time. There's always more companies. There's always more dips. Why are we going to assume risk? Why are we going to take a chance? Why are we going to take management word for it when we can just wait and see? Because a lot like these pension funds, big mutual funds, institutions who are, long-term investors, they want to hold the stock for 10 years, 20 years. They want to get dividends. They want to see the growth that we're talking about. They want to see the top 10 financial institution, and they have time, guys. They have a long time horizon. So those are the type of investors we need to stabilize the price in the stock. You need at least 50% institutions in the stock. Right now we're in the 30s, like mid 30s. So it's just not good enough. There's too much retail in the stock. It's way too easy to push around. Short, steal premium from big fat idiots, returders on options, swing turders, don't know what they're doing. Just all these different things. Buy and hold, buy and hold, buy and hold. But if you're going to trade around earnings, guys, and I would say that's a big if, I expect the stock to move up next week, sell off dramatically if EPS is weak, short it one last time, then they're going to try to cover, I think, probably down in the sevens. And then you're going to see a rapid swing to the upside. And I know, guys, it depends on the macro. It depends on inflation. It depends on if the war in Israel and, spreads. It depends on if they're already talking peace in Ukraine. I think China and different countries, even Russia, is starting to see like the destabilization of the world. These wars are not good for anyone, not only from a humanitarian standpoint, but particularly from an economic standpoint. And countries that are repressive, totalitarian, they do not like instability, guys. They do not like people thinking about, the world and thinking about freedom and thinking about philosophy. And they want people towing that fucking party line, consuming that propaganda. Economic stability, political stability, geopolitical stability is good for basically everybody. You just don't want that much upheaval if you're Iran. Think about what Iran just went through with regard to, the movement around women's rights and how much that upheaval, was unprecedented, and how the people are rising up, new ideas, challenging the regime, challenging the repression. You think they want a bunch of upheaval and turmoil? No, it threatens their regime. They don't want war. Iran is all about like saying they're going to do, this or that and not doing it. I actually believe them when they said they probably didn't. I know they had a role in this, but I don't think like they ordered it to take place in terms of the brutalities and kidnappings and all this stuff. And I certainly don't think they want to open up. They're talking about the United States is engaged. We're going to open up in Lebanon. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I don't see any of those countries wanting, to go to war with the Israeli Air Force and have their infrastructure destroyed. And a lot of these countries, are just trying to, make peace, actually formalize some type of relations with Israel. You have Putin coming out and talking about how he wants a diplomatic solution. He's willing to meet halfway. I think China is certainly pushing him in that direction. So, I mean, long ramble, guys, but economic stability, I think there's going to be a ton of pressure brought to bear by all sides to stop these wars, because people are trying to establish this anti-US bloc, whether it be China, Russia, sort of India is not anti-US, but sort of they want a hedge against the United States. Multipolar world. They certainly don't want the hedge money, but um, I just don't think the economy and the world are going to be as bad as people think. The high interest rates, yes, they're going to be here for a while. Yes, inflation is challenging, but I think SoFi does very well in that environment. But why do I think they're going to be attacked? It only makes sense that they'd be shorting the stock up here if they can cover lower. Like, I don't think they're going to cover lower after net profit. So, if they increase their shorts dramatically, sort of during this run up, like from 8 to, I don't know, 840. So they have to think they're going to be able to cover that bet quite a bit lower in order to make money. Do I think they could do another pump and dump like last quarter? Probably not, because I think there could be a better earnings report than people think. I don't think EPS is going to be that great, but I think the deposit growth could really be, you know, outstanding and just as good, if not better, than last quarter. But I think the student loan numbers are going to be weak. They're going to be bad. Just hasn't had a chance to start going. Mortgages, I think, are going to be very bad. There's just not much activity. So I think the shorts and the market makers and the turds and the chia pets and the bologna sandwiches and their minions in the media are going to be able to attack this ER for the last time, and I think they're going to take full advantage of that. So guys, that's the SoFi stock. That's what's going on. But I just want to give you an idea, like, take a look at the scope of the development around SoFi Stadium. And they're calling it Hollywood Park, but I think overall, in people's minds, in the popular lore, that's going to turn into sort of the SoFi Stadium project, the SoFi development. People are going to be like, oh, where do you live? Do you live in Hollywood? It's like, no, I live at SoFi. Like, or I live at Hollywood Park, but it's certainly going to come into SoFi. I think SoFi is going to be a household name worldwide, and I think the stadium is going to have an awful lot to do with it. We have the Olympics coming to Los Angeles. If you see the economic development around here, it's just insane. People are talking about, oh, there's an exodus from California. Nothing's happening in California. Yeah, look at the Los Angeles International Airports. They've been doing like billions and billions of dollars worth of expansion. That is busy constantly. The ports are busy, guys. Manufacturing is busy. Technology is busy. Everything is happening in Los Angeles. There's like 30 million people around here, guys. It's not just, the few million in Los Angeles. It's like this area is a metropolis that goes on forever. and you can even say like people in, San Diego, Santa Barbara, they can also enjoy the SoFi Stadium. It's like 2 hours away. That's nothing in most parts of the country. People drive 2 hours to get to an NFL stadium would consider themselves lucky, but in like an hour drive from SoFi, we cover literally tens of millions of people, and almost all of those people have good incomes who are going to be coming to the stadium, and not to mention the exposure from the Olympics, the Super Bowl, all this stuff. A lot of it just hasn't had a chance to pay off, but guys, things I'm looking at for positives. People want to talk, what am I expecting in the earnings report? Um, why do I think they're going to do a dump and pump rather than a pump and dump? I just think there's going to be it's not going to be real weakness. It's going to be expected things. Like Noto came out and told you like Q3 is not going to look that good in a lot of respects, and Q4 is going to look great, and that's what we're setting up for. I think that's kind of what we should expect. But the good, I'm going to say deposit growth, member growth, personal loans, and revenue growth should be strong. On the bad side, guys, I don't think Galileo is going to show that much in Q3. Defaults, that's a big question mark. Loans sold, another big question mark. Cross selling, is that going to increase? I don't think we're going to see much there. Student loans, I think, going to show almost nothing in Q3. Not almost nothing, but it's just not going to be as great as people expect. Home loans low, EPS low. Guidance is the big key. Things I want to see that are more on the neutral side is new products, revamped trading, um, a better, more comprehensive plan of what's actually going to be done in Latin America, updates, business banking. We see again the B2B credit solution. I want to see full on business banking, checking, payments, savings, all those types of solutions. The IRA match at 1%. Um, there's a couple of things also that the guidance is going to be critical. They're going to attack this ER and then flip, make the final push, cover a lot of the short, accumulate, and the short-term turders are just going to get out of their positions altogether. But I think there's another concept I want to talk about, hopefully in another video, called false float, where people are looking at SoFi has this huge free float, like retail people can all be manipulated. Many people can, but a lot of the weak hands have been driven out of this stock. They've driven it down into the low sevens twice, from 1150. I think people who were going to give up gave up. I don't think driving it down to like 808 is going to push any retail out of the stock. So this false float is that people have a perception that insiders aren't going to sell easily and institutions aren't going to sell easily, but retail is going to sell extremely easily and all their shares are available. And I just believe that's false. I believe the SoFi investor is also the SoFi customer. We're extremely well informed. We know what we own. We know this stock went up into the 20s 3 times. We know that Noto and people like Steve Fiorio think SoFi is going to be a top 10 financial institution. And just at this time, that would require a market cap of like $140 billion or something. By the time SoFi actually grows into a top 10 institution, that could be, much, much higher, obviously, because that'll take many years. But the trajectory is there, the growth story is there. I think if that holds up in Q3, we're going to be absolutely fine. The emphasis on net profit, I can understand from an institutional standpoint, from a psychological standpoint, but it's far more important that we keep the defaults low, that everything stays on track in terms of member growth. Deposit growth is critical, that direct deposit continues to increase. That's what's important, is that the company is running like a well-oiled machine and operating and growing. And if management is doing all those things right, the GAAP net profit will follow. EBITDA, people like, Buffett and Munger attack EBITDA, fake earnings. It's fake. It's not fake. It's a metric you can use before you're making a profit to measure how well the company is doing. But you have to be mindful that, stock-based compensation adding back in, like that's a lot of dilution. You just have to approach it with a sober reality that we are being diluted, but as a percentage, it becomes less and less every quarter as we grow. I just want to see, us make money so we can pay people with money and stop paying people with stock and stop, like this CTO turd who keeps dumping shares. Like, I don't know, guys. I'm not in love with the CTO. I'm not in love with the app. I'm not in love with the fact that we don't have covered calls. I'm not in love with the fact that the app goes down for an entire day. I'm still extremely bullish SoFi. I'm extremely bullish on the growth. I'm extremely bullish on their ability to grow members, grow deposits, grow personal loans, loan to only the top quality people, keep their reserve ratios and everything extremely careful. We have a great cash position, $3 billion. We do not need to raise funds on unfavorable terms like the Chia Pet thought we would. Toward the end of the year, as touchdown Danny Dolev from Mizuho did all the math and says, we can keep going for 5 to 6 quarters, lending without selling any loans at all and increasing our lending. And if we sell just 10% of the loans on the books, that would be 7 quarters plus. So SoFi has absolutely no liquidity problems. SoFi is not going bankrupt. SoFi is not doing a reverse split. SoFi doesn't need to do a bad money raise. Why would you need to do a bad money raise when you have deposits flowing in, faster than you can even count the money? Of course you wouldn't, guys. But that's a SoFi stock. The ticker symbol is SOFI. This guy is Danny Deals, your man with the plan in Inglewood. Guys, it's like the wolf said, he's like, I'm seeing in your future a cab ride. He's like, I'm in Redondo Beach. He's like, I'm in Inglewood. He's like, Pulp Fiction, one of the great ones. I don't like some of the more recent Tarantino. Like, what the fuck was Hateful Eight? Like, what was that movie? Who wrote that thing? Dahmer goo. He's like, man, his bad teeth. Like, whole plot of that thing was just a complete fucking nonsense. But anyway, the horse riding through the snow at the beginning of the movie was the best part. I recommend you turn it off after that because it's just a lot of bad acting and weird nonsense. But anyway, Quentin Tarantino aside, guys, it's the SoFi stock. Just up a couple of pennies on the day. Not much happening. I expect, probably won't get above 850 by the end of the week. If it does, it'll be a couple pennies. Could finish anywhere. I don't know. Could finish the week anywhere. I would say 835, 840, and I expect the stock to move up next week, quickly into the ER next Monday in a week and a half, and then I expect the stock will be attacked right after that ER, but that those shares will be bought up quickly, and then the stock will keep moving up, say, second week of November, move up very strong the rest of 2023. Guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know what you're expecting in the earnings report. Let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Let me know if you think the SoFi Stadium was a good deal. Also, let me know what you think about the golf deal, what you're doing for the weekend, what your plans are, if you're bitter at the IRS because you just paid all your money to the tax man. Guys, that's life. Life's short and hard like a bodybuilding elf. So keep that in mind as you go out there. Think you're going to find as you go out there, you're not going to amount to jack squat. Okay, guys, have a great day. Thank you.